There's a samurai practice so confronting, so psychologically intense, that most people refuse to even discuss it. Not because it's physically dangerous, because it forces you to face the one truth you spend your entire life avoiding, your death. And the samurai discovered something remarkable. When you stop running from death and start meditating on it daily, fear disappears. Not gradually, completely. This practice was called Maranasati in Buddhist tradition, death meditation. The samurai adapted it into their training because they understood something profound. The fear of death underlies every other fear. Fear of failure is really fear of social death. Fear of rejection is fear of belonging death. Fear of poverty is fear of security death. Every fear you have traces back to one source, the fear that you will cease to exist. But what if you could remove that fear? What if you could look at death directly, accept it completely, and become immune to its psychological grip? You would become fearless, not reckless, fearless. And that's exactly what this practice does. Today, I'm going to show you the complete forbidden practice, not the sanitized version, the real version, the one that transforms cowards into warriors in 30 days. But I'm warning you now, this isn't comfortable. This will confront you with truths you've been avoiding. And once you see these truths, your life will never be the same. You're terrified of death. You won't admit it. You don't think about it. You distract yourself from it constantly. Entertainment, work, relationships, goals, achievements. All of it is noise designed to drown out the one whisper you can't silence. You're going to die. Everything you build will crumble. Everyone you love will disappear. Every achievement will be forgotten. And you, the consciousness reading this right now, will cease to exist. This terrifies you. So you run. You fill every moment with distraction. You pursue immortality projects, legacy, impact, meaning, anything to pretend death isn't coming. And this running, this avoidance, this denial creates a background anxiety that colors your entire life. You can't fully relax because death is always there in your peripheral vision. You can't fully commit because what if it's all meaningless? You can't fully love because everyone you love will die or leave. This anxiety manifests as every other fear in your life. You don't take risks because what if you fail and waste your limited time? You don't speak your truth because what if people reject you and you die alone? You don't pursue your dreams because what if you're not good enough and your life amounts to nothing? Every hesitation, every compromise, every moment of cowardice, it all traces back to death anxiety. The samurai faced this directly. They lived in an era where death was immediate. Every duel could be their last. Every battle could end them. They couldn't afford the luxury of denial. So they developed a practice that removed death's psychological power. And that practice is what I'm about to teach you. Let me tell you about Kenji. He was 34 when he discovered this practice. Successful career in finance, good family, comfortable life, but paralyzed by fear. Fear of losing his job, fear of disappointing his father, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of wasting his life. He was living small, playing safe, dying slowly while trying desperately not to die at all. Then his father had a heart attack, survived, but barely. And Kenji realized something that shattered him. His father would die. He would die. Everyone he knew would die. And he'd been living like he had infinite time, like death was theoretical, like it happened to other people. The realization crushed him. For 2 weeks he couldn't function. Panic attacks, insomnia, existential dread. His grandfather saw what was happening. His grandfather had studied Zen Buddhism for 40 years. And he told Kenji something that seemed insane at the time. You're not afraid of death. You're afraid of death because you've never looked at it. Face it directly. and the fear disappears. He taught Kenji the forbidden practice, the complete death meditation protocol, and 30 days later, Kenji was transformed, not optimistic, not positive, fearless. He quit his finance job and started a company he'd been dreaming about for years. He had the difficult conversation with his father he'd been avoiding. He started living like someone who knew time was limited, because he did. And that knowledge freed him. Here's the complete practice. 3 stages. Each stage builds on the previous. You cannot skip stages. Each stage takes 10 days. 30 days total to complete transformation. Stage 1 is Mortality Acknowledgment. 10 days of systematically accepting that you will die. This sounds simple. It's not, because your entire psychology is built around denying this fact. You intellectually know you'll die, but you don't viscerally accept it. This stage creates visceral acceptance. Every morning, you sit in silence for 15 minutes, and you repeat one phrase internally: I will die. This body will stop functioning. This consciousness will end. I will cease to exist. You don't think about when or how, just the fact. You sit with this truth. You feel what arises: fear, panic, sadness, denial, anger. You don't push it away. You observe it. You allow it. Your mind will generate 1,000 distractions. You'll think about work, about breakfast, about anything except death. This is the avoidance mechanism. Every time you notice distraction, you return to the phrase, I will die. Simple, direct, unavoidable. Kenji did this every morning. First 3 days were torture, pure anxiety. His heart would race, his breath would quicken. He'd want to stop, but he continued. Day 4, something shifted. The anxiety was still there, but smaller. Like his nervous system was starting to realize that thinking about death doesn't cause death. Day 7, the phrase felt neutral. Not happy, not sad, just true. By day 10, he could sit with his mortality for 15 minutes without reactivity. Just acceptance. This is what you're building. Psychological acceptance of the one unavoidable truth. Stage 2 is death visualization. 10 days of vividly imagining your death, not morbidly, practically. You're going to visualize your death from 3 perspectives. This removes the abstract quality and makes it real, because real removes power. Abstract maintains power. First perspective is first-person death. You sit in meditation, and you visualize your final moments from inside your experience. You're lying down. Your body is failing. Your breath is slowing. You can feel systems shutting down. You watch your vision narrow. You feel consciousness fading. And you imagine the moment of transition, the moment you stop. You visualize this completely, not rushing, not avoiding. You experience your death imaginatively. This is confronting. Your survival instinct will scream. Your mind will try to escape. Don't let it. Stay with the visualization. Experience it fully. Do this every morning for 3 days. By the 3rd day, something remarkable happens. The terror decreases. Not because death becomes less real, because familiarity removes fear. You've died 3 times in visualization, and you're still here. Your brain starts to separate the thought of death from the threat of death. Second perspective is third-person death. You visualize your death from outside. You see your body. You see the people around you, your family, your friends. You see their reactions, their grief, their loss. You see your funeral. Who's there? Who speaks? What they say. You see them moving forward without you. Life continuing. The world spinning. everything proceeding as if you never existed. This creates different confrontation, not fear of your experience ending, acceptance that the world doesn't need you, that life is bigger than you, that your absence will be noted briefly and then absorbed. This sounds depressing. It's liberating. Because if the world continues without you, then your fears about legacy and impact lose their grip. You're freed from the pressure of permanence. Third perspective is aftermath. You visualize 1 year after your death, 5 years, 10 years. You see how your absence has been integrated, how people have healed, how life has moved forward. You see your children grown, your friends laughing, your work replaced or forgotten. Everything you built either crumbled or transformed into something unrecognizable. Do each perspective for 3 days. 9 days total of death visualization. By the end, death is no longer abstract terror. It's accepted reality. You've experienced it imaginatively enough times that it loses its psychological charge. This is the goal, not happiness about death, neutrality toward it. Stage 3 is impermanence practice, the final 10 days. This is where fearlessness is born. You're going to apply mortality awareness to everything in your life, every attachment, every fear, every hesitation. You're going to see it through the lens of impermanence and watch it lose power. Every morning, you make a list of everything you're afraid of, every fear, every worry, every anxiety. Then you apply one question to each fear. Will this matter when I'm dead? Not. Will this matter in 10 years? Will this matter when you're dead, when you no longer exist, when consciousness has ceased and you're just atoms returning to the universe? That fear of what your coworker thinks about you, will it matter when you're dead? No. That fear of failing at your business, will it matter when you're dead? No. That fear of rejection, that fear of poverty, that fear of embarrassment, none of it matters in the face of death. Not because nothing matters, because the fears are misplaced. You're spending your limited consciousness worrying about things that have zero significance in the context of mortality. This practice doesn't make you nihilistic. It makes you focused. You start to see what actually matters. Connection, presence, authentic expression, growth, contribution, the things that make the limited time you have rich and meaningful. And you stop wasting energy on the things that don't. Social approval, material accumulation, status games. Comparison, all of it revealed as distraction from what's real. Kenji did this practice every morning. By day 3 of stage 3, his entire value system had shifted. Things that used to terrify him became irrelevant. Getting fired. So what? He'd die anyway. Might as well pursue what matters. His father's disappointment. His father would die. He'd die. Better to live authentically for the limited time they had. Financial risk. Money would mean nothing when he was gone. Better to risk it on something meaningful than hoard it safely for a future that might not come. This shift wasn't reckless. It was clarifying. He became more strategic, not less. Because when you remove false fears, you can see real priorities. He didn't quit his job impulsively. He planned carefully, saved deliberately, then made the move from a place of clarity rather than fear. The difference was night and day. By day 30, Kenji was unrecognizable. Same person. Different operating system. Fear no longer controlled his decisions. Not because he became brave, because he accepted death completely. And once you accept death, what's left to fear? Discomfort, temporary, failure, meaningless in the context of mortality, rejection. Everyone dies alone anyway. Loss. Everything is already lost. You just haven't reached the moment yet. This sounds dark. It's the opposite. It's liberation. When you accept that everything ends, you're free to actually live. Not to achieve, not to accumulate, not to prove. To live, to experience, to connect, to experience. To be fully present with the temporary miracle of consciousness before it disappears. Now let me tell you where you'll fail. You'll intellectualize this instead of practicing it. You'll read this script and think, yes, I understand that I'll die. Understanding isn't acceptance. Acceptance requires practice. 15 minutes every morning for 30 days. No shortcuts. Or you'll do stage 1 and skip stages 2 and 3. Stage 1 creates acceptance. But stages 2 and 3 create transformation. Without them, you'll just be someone who thinks about death sometimes. With them, you become someone who lives differently because of death awareness. Or you'll quit when the anxiety peaks. Usually, day 2 or 3 of stage 1. The anxiety will feel unbearable. You'll convince yourself this practice is harmful. It's not. The anxiety is your avoidance mechanism dying. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. That's the process. Push through to day 7. The other side is worth it. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, start stage 1. 15 minutes. Sit in silence. Repeat the phrase, I will die. Do this for 10 days straight. Then move to stage 2. Then stage 3. 30 days total. Give this practice 1 month of your life. In exchange, you'll receive fearlessness for the rest of your life, however long or short that might be. After 30 days, come back. Tell me what changed. Tell me what fears disappeared. Tell me what you started doing that you were too afraid to do before. Because something will shift. I guarantee it. Death awareness creates life intensity. When you know time is limited, you stop wasting it. The samurai practiced this because their death was imminent. Your death is equally imminent. You just have the luxury of pretending it's not. But that luxury is costing you. It's costing you courage. It's costing you authenticity. It's costing you the full experience of being alive. This practice removes the pretense. It forces you to face what's real. You will die. Everyone you love will die. Everything will end. And in that ending is the most profound freedom you'll ever experience. The question is, are you brave enough to look?